It's been a minute since I've done one of these, but it's finally time for the first book review of the year. And we've got an amazing indie read, Celestial Twins Gemini by C.J. Estrella. This book was sent to me by the author. First off, thank you. It's a lit RPG. Think of a basic role-playing game, but in a book format. There's class systems, there's dungeons, there's monsters, magic. It's all real cool, real video game-esque. Maybe if you watch anime, you can compare it to things like Sword Art Online, Solo Leveling, Konosuba, without the extreme hilarity and, raunchiness. And this book definitely felt like those anime. In fact, we're going to start this review strong. I would say this book is a lot like the first season of Sword Art Online, which is arguably my favorite first season of any anime ever. This book has so much going for it. So let's talk about it. Celestial Twins Gemini starts off pretty normal. Our main characters, Colin and Arya. It's either Colin or Kaylin, by the way. I kept switching between the two when I was reading. I don't know. Just normal people going on a drive with their family to Las Vegas when all of a sudden everything is plunged into darkness and they're thrust into this video game type world full of dungeons and monsters and danger. And during their adventures and journeys, they meet more people just trying to survive this dangerous world. So our main cast, I would say, are Colin, Arya, Calum, Hannah, and Yara. Great cast of characters, by the way. Oh, and of course, can't forget our main antagonist, Lucian. Great villain. In this new world, the task is clear that they have to clear these towers, which are essentially these big black obelisks that within which are dungeons. If you play video games, you know what I'm talking about, all right? Dungeons with set scenarios and set objectives that they have to beat. There's a boss at the end, and the story is them progressing through this world, which right now, this whole book is just a tutorial level of this game-esque world. And they have to survive, and they meet more people, and they have to teach these people how to survive, and it just grows and grows. The scale of it all just grows, and the risks and the tensions and the stakes just grow exponentially. The characters, I think, have some really good characterization. I will admit that at the beginning, they all kind of fell flat to me. They all seem like caricatures of what they were supposed to be. But as the story progresses, you really get to know these characters. They really shine. They really become three-dimensional. It's really fun to read through their stories and see how they mesh together and grow as the book progresses. Speaking of characterizations, we're just going to talk about characters for a second. There is a ton of characters by the end of this book that you're introduced to. And there's a lot of them are minor characters. And one thing that came to mind when I was reading this and realizing how many characters CJ was putting in here, I was like, there's no way that all of these characters are going to matter. And for a while I was correct in that thinking, I think. There was a lot of times where I was mixing one character with another. I couldn't tell them apart. I didn't really know who was who. But these types of things, if they're given enough time and space, really resolve themselves, especially if the writing is good enough. And I think the writing is good enough in this book that it resolved itself by the end, that I wasn't really having this attitude anymore of, okay, here's another one. It's really hard when you have a huge cast of characters to try to make every single character, especially the minor ones, feel like they have some sort of importance and they're not just a throwaway. So well done there. There's a lot of battles, a lot of action in this book, and I was surprised by how CJ was able to keep everything fresh by creating new monsters and new sort of battle mechanics, new bosses. Nothing felt too repeated. Also, I'm just going to keep holding this book up in case you didn't notice, because look at that cover. Freaking gorgeous. I love the purple and pink color scheme. It's just wonderful. The pace can sometimes feel real fast, but then CJ will take these moments where he sort of just takes a breath, slows the pace down, and does this really flowery language with exploring the world and sort of describing the world and letting us experience it. And I especially loved those parts. I thought they were really well written, really well done, and did an excellent job at giving us a chance to catch our breath, because there's really a lot that goes on in this book. It's interesting too, because with how big this book is, I mean, it's a thick boy, and with how much of the focus is on clearing these towers, you would think that the story progression would become a little stale and a little repetitive, but the story progresses well, and it evolves to where by the final third of the story, the towers are still there, the objective is still there, but there's also more to go along with that. I'm not going to give anything away, okay? But the stakes, like I said before, get really high. Goals expand. It's just really good story progression. The plot is really amazing in this book. I loved it. I had so much fun reading this. I almost didn't want to continue reading it because I didn't want it to end. I did not want to have to move on from these characters and this world. The characters, I know I said early in the beginning they kind of felt flat. The characters, I love the characters so much, especially the core group. There's no other way to put it, but they are just so memorable, each and every one of them. And finally, we're going to talk about the ending real quick. That ending, dude, okay. There are a few moments where I had to reach out to the author and just give him kudos on particular chapters because they were just genuinely great. But that ending was a literal jaw dropper. I am not exaggerating when I tell you that a certain thing happens in the final climactic moment of this story where my jaw literally dropped and just hung like that for a straight page or two as I kept on reading. That ending was unexpected, brutal, and I honestly just can't believe it happened. I cannot believe it happened in the best way. Fuck. That was my reaction to that ending. Now, this book isn't perfect. If you pick up this book and you're looking for perfection and you're easily disappointed by typos or formatting errors, those exist in this book. I'm not going to lie. There's some pretty consistent mistakes throughout. There are a lot of formatting errors. I think this book as a whole probably could have gone through another editing phase, if only to sort of polish it a little more. Inconsistencies in details, character details. There's a certain part in the book where I think CJ forgets where one of his characters is because he's in one scene talking with the core group when he shouldn't be there because he's either dead or captured. Things like that exist in this book. I'm not gonna lie. But it's all technical. All the critiques I have of this book are all technical things. An editor would be able to help with that. But it's nothing detrimental to the story. It's nothing detrimental to enjoyment. This was a really, really fun read. I can't wait for the second book. You know that I'm going to be trying to be an ARC reader for that.
Damn it, this review is already too long, but I totally forgot to mention a freaking important aspect of this book is the romance subplot, dude. Oh my gosh. I loved the romance. I loved the couples that were meant to be shipped in this. Definitely, oh man, I just loved it. I was giggling, bro. Like, well done.
So let's get down to the rating. I'm going to give this book a 9 out of 10. It is such a good debut. It's just so good, dude. I can't express it in words enough on how riveted I was. I literally read the last 200 pages straight, and I could not put it down. So yeah, 9 out of 10. Definitely recommend this book. As you can see, I had to rep the shirt that he gave me as well in that box. If you liked this review, follow for more. I'm going to be doing plenty of them throughout the year. And remember, soup is sacred. Nobody dies during soup.